Hello, my name's Daniel. I go by Game Man of Color 313 on Twitch and Discord, and today's video is going to illustrate how to use Ralph on humanoid bosses in Kingdom Hearts 3. First, we'll briefly cover the basics. Every time you summon Ralph, you'll have a starting block, a single square block that points up, and at least one block that points down. Everything except the up block and the one down block is a random pick from any one of 5 blocks. And as for the one down block, it will be from one of 2 flavors of down block. You'll have 6 blocks in total, including your starting block. Each individual block deals damage in 2 parts. An initial blast, which is telegraphed by the beams of light coming out from the block, and the debris from that block after it's destroyed. The initial blast damage can be boosted by chaining your blocks, which you do by placing blocks within the light beam of a previous block. You'll know that you've chained a block successfully if it glows blue instead of its usual brown. To get the largest chain possible, you'll want to try and chain all your blocks without having any 2 blocks lit up by the same one. Lighting up multiple blocks with one block causes all of those blocks to blast simultaneously and shortens your overall chain. Each beam can also immobilize a target if it can undergo a stun effect. This very simple set of rules governs how speedrunners utilize Ralph to utterly decimate large non-humanoid bosses. If you're looking for specific setups on particular enemies with this tactic, please go check out my friend Random Dips' video in the description on how to take on Rock Troll and Grim Guardianess. Although, I will introduce my own spin on using Ralph against Grim. I build a structure that I call the No-No Square, which is a 4-block square on the ground, built counterclockwise from your starting position. Your last block on the ground should be your up block, and you should save one down block to place directly above it. For your last block in the chain, try to aim it towards the center of the square. When the boss slams her head down into the square, press finish and obliterate her. Now, one might expect that Ralph would be just as effective against humanoid bosses, and they'd be right, but in order to extract the best value from Ralph, the guidelines on how to use him change ever so slightly from the usual process on a non-humanoid boss. For one, non-humanoid bosses have a hidden value called Stagger Endurance, which dictates how often you have to attack them in order to unlock a brief window in which every one of Sora's attacks causes the enemy to stagger. Humanoid bosses, that is to say, the organization members, Anti-Aqua, and Davy Jones, generally do not have stagger endurance. They are staggered throughout the fight so long as you land any kind of hit at an appropriate time. Moreover, these battles are more heavily influenced by a different invisible value known by the speedrun community as revenge value, much in the way that Kingdom Hearts 2's bosses generally are. Your blocks actually increase enemy revenge value by small amounts over time, which Dips also addresses in his video. Additionally, in much the same way that a physical combo finisher sends a humanoid boss flying, they can also be sent flying from Ralph's block explosions, which makes it harder to deal damage with all 5 blocks in a chain 5 strike as they bounce out of your structure. So instead, you'll want to prioritize only hitting them with the chain 4 and chain 5 blocks, which deal the most damage. This happens in the speedrun strat for Master Xehanort's final phase out of necessity, since your initial block starts so far away, but you can engineer the same outcome in any given fight against a humanoid target. Remember that Ralph's blocks can immobilize most targets caught within their light beams, and this applies to humanoid bosses as well. What you can also do while they're stuck in place is reposition them with either Ralph's rush command, or by shoving them with Ralph's body. Typically, the structures that yield the best results will end your chains with the up block as a chain 3 or 4, and the down block as your chain 5 to pin your target directly between the block and the ground. Make sure to offset your down blocks so that they're not directly above your up block, in order to have your light beam cover more space on the ground. Additionally, to avoid aiming your intermediate chain blocks at your target, you can even aim them perpendicular to earlier blocks' light beams. Do this well, and even the nastiest organization members will have up to half of their health shaved off in one go. And there you have it. I hope that this guide on how to crank out Ralph damage helps you understand and enjoy the game better, whether you're a casual player or a speedrunner. Huge shoutouts to both B-Boy Cubed and Yitamoda for teaching me these ins and outs of Ralph, to Random Dips whose excellent video inspired me to make one of my own, and to Denhinator for coming up with many of the proof of concept ideas of when to use Ralph. If you'd be so kind, go give them a follow on their YouTube and Twitch channels. If you'd like me to break down any other aspect of the game, especially for things like level 1 critical mode playthroughs, please let me know in the comments down below.